Hi guys, this is Pestily and welcome to another Escape from Tarkov video. In this video, I'm going to talk about how we manipulated the market into boosting a price of an ammo, and then how it turned into profits, and the way that people are already doing this from evidence I've seen, and how we can actually go over ways of fixing this using the evidence I've found over today. So without further ado, let's crack straight into it. So over today's stream, I wanted to test 3 different theories. The first one was selling items back and forth to raise trader rating. The second was putting items up for sale on the flea market, just with it putting it up and not selling it, and see if that adjusts the value of an item on the traders. And then finally, the third theory was putting items up for sale, selling them between each other in the community, just doing mass sales, bouncing it around, and then finding out how much it would increase, and then the further results from that if it does work. So starting with the first theory. So I had someone give me 60 million rubles. I put a splint up for sale. He sent me 60 million rubles and my trader rating went up about 10 points. I did find an issue with this. Now, putting up the splint for 60 million rubles cost me about 1 million in fees. Fair enough, that was that done. But once the money was traded, now the receiving window of money only held 25 million rubles. And the only way I could get around this to actually keep the money was after I cleared all 25 million rubles, I had to Alt F4 the game, close it, load it back up, and then load up the Ragman again by scrolling down all the way to the bottom to refresh it because there's still that messenger bug. And then the get items would appear again. I do the next 25 million rubles, close the game again, open up again, and then get the 10 million final rubles. Now, this has obviously shown an issue because if you ever do a trade above 60 million, which right now I'm not really sure what that would actually be, but maybe if you sold an item in bulk, like I don't know, like 30 gamma containers, or I suppose it only has to be over 25 million. So maybe if you sold 15 gamma containers in one stack, that would be an issue. Or if you purchased an item in bulk, say you bought, I don't know, 50,000 rounds and it was too much to fit in into the actual receiving window. So there's an issue in there. Now, there's multiple reasons why we need to fix this, but I actually think the first thing we should do is actually fix the stacks of rubles. I think there needs to be stacks of maybe 1 million, because right now 100,000 rubles is just not enough in a stack. It's an easy, quick fix, but I don't know. There needs to be changes in the way we receive money, and everyone's spoken about that already. Now, I tested this theory over the course of the stream, and going back and forth with the same person doesn't affect your trader rating after the first sale each way. So, it's good to take note that you can't actually boost your rating by just selling, like, say, something for 10 million rubles back and forth between you until it runs out of money. That won't work. They've put some sort of fix in to stop that, because I'm fairly confident originally you could do that. So that's done and dusted. Theory 1 busted. Moving on to Theory 2. Now, Theory 2, putting an item up for sale, or a mass amount of items up for sale on the flea market, and seeing if that would adjust the price of an item after the trader reset. So what we did was, we tried to pick a round that wasn't going to affect anyone else in the game, pretty much. So we picked the .366 Gexa from Skier 2. About 50 of us put up 100 rounds for 10,000 rubles per round. And then at the end of the reset, we wanted to see if it would have an adjustment. So the original price was 64 rubles. After the reset, there was no change in price. So it's good to know that you can't just manipulate the market purely just by putting mass amounts up for sale. So theory number 2 was 100% flawed, debunked, and doesn't work. So that's good to know. So moving on to theory 3. So this was to purchase a type of ammunition, one that wouldn't affect the community at all, and to see if we could push the price up by putting a heap of sales up on the flea market, and then buying it and selling it back and forth between everyone in my community. So we had about 300 or 400 people online. We found an ammunition that was had 1.5 million rounds up for sale, and we purchased every single one of them. It was the 9x18 PPE GZH ammo. Now, the original price of the ammo was only 27 rubles per round, and what I did was I asked everyone in the whole community to purchase 10,000 rounds each, which would work out to be 270,000 rubles per person, right? We all chucked this up for sale in stacks of 100 rounds for 10,000 rubles per round, effectively 1 million rubles to buy a stack. And then We put up, I think there was about 150 to 200 people involved in this. We all put all these up for sale. And then I had Slush Puppy put up a stack of 100 rounds for 100,000 per round, effectively costing 10 million. So Slush and I did that back and forth, I think about 10 times between us. The cost for us to be able to do that was 250,000 rubles per sale price. That was the fee that was costing us to send 10 million across each way. And then everyone else was about 25,000. I put about 20 million just opening out between everyone, and then they just bumped that 1 million per person between each person. And we had people just going nuts selling it in between each other. And we just went mental with this just to see how extreme we could go with it and to see what influence it would have on the market. So after we'd done this a fair considerable amount of time, probably we spent about 20 minutes doing this. And then we talked about the reasons why this is interesting to find out. And we waited for the trader to reset. The price of being able to sell a round that we purchased for 27 rubles to mechanic was 14 rubles. So we wanted to make sure, we wanted to see if we could bump that price up above enough to be able to sell that ammunition higher than the cost price of the ammunition. And then you got to take into account fees. So after the first trader reset, we were able to bump the price up per round to 98 rubles, which had a sale price of 55 rubles per round. It cost us 27 rubles per round. So it was 40.5 million we spent on ammunition to get all the ammunition to us, which was 1.5 million rounds. And then after that, with the bumping of price, we actually made it so we could resell that ammo for 82.5 million, which is 40 million rubles profit, or 42 million in profit. Now, I would estimate that we probably spent about 10 million in fees to bump it up. But this isn't where it actually got really interesting. Like, that is awesome in itself that we were able to manipulate it that much to get 30 million in profit. But then wait till you hear what happened next. So we didn't do any more trades after that. We absolutely left it. No more trades. I told everyone, don't even worry about touching it. Let's just leave it there for now. After the next trade reset, it went up again. And not a little bit. It went up to 217 rubles per round, with a sale value of 123 rubles per round. This meant we could now sell our 1.5 million rounds for 184.5 million. Now, being the original cost was only 40 million, and we spent about 10 million in fees, this is 134 million rubles in profit. So effectively, in a 6-hour period, we turned around 40 to 50 million rubles into 185 million just by manipulating in that way. So I could have made the video after that, but I wanted to wait a little bit longer to see if it adjusted up or down after that. Now, after the next trader reset, it didn't move at all. And so I thought maybe it was going to go down purely by the fact by no one purchasing the ammo. Eventually, it'll just slowly go back down to its original price. But that wasn't the case at all. But then after that reset, I waited till closer to the end of that reset. And then I did another trade with Slush, just one stack of 100 rounds for 10,000 rubles, effectively putting 1 million back and forth. We did this just once to see if it made any adjustment, and it didn't. So I've actually got a fair few theories on why this actually occurred. One of them could be along the lines of it's kind of based around the whole boosting your trader rating. Going back and forth from the same person doesn't actually have any effect on the market. Another one could be the fact that it wasn't enough sales. It could be based around the sales. So we might need to do, instead of one sale, you might need to do 100 sales, and I'll base it off the 100 sales. The other option it might be is actually purely based off the quantity of ammo sold, or the amount of the product sold. So there's 3 theories on why the actual prices adjust and why it might not have adjusted. So I'm going to leave that there for that. So I need to move into the next part, which is what is the issue with all this, and then how can we fix it? So the issue with this is, I originally identified there was a problem in my previous video when the dynamic market first came out, and I spoke about this, and I said I wanted to do some testing with my community. But I didn't really get alarmed to it until I saw some random items just shoot up in price, but something that no one would actually purchase. So there was like water bottles had shot up. M61 ammo went from, I think, like $5 a round to $15 a round in like 2 resets or 1 reset. It was just, there was certain alarming things that I'd noticed. So I wanted to know if, 1, it was manipulable by a community or a group of people, and 2, I wanted to see if people were already doing it, and if so, we needed to get a hold of it before someone just goes out there. Effectively, if we did this with this amount of ammo or this lower price of value, if we did it for a higher item of value, so instead of doing it, say, with something that was 27 rubles, but we did it with something that was worth 1,000 rubles and boosted the price up to 10,000 rubles, we've actually now increased the profit from instead of being 9,000, instead of being, to say, 100 per sale, we've now increased it to 9,000 per sale. So someone could actually do this method and make 1 billion rubles in 6 hours. So that's the alarm in it. And I know I've advertised this theory or this way to make it work, and people could probably go out and do it. But there are some issues with it. It's not flawless. You also all need to have a bank already to do it. Like, I started with 60 million rubles and gave out a heap of it to give to people to help work on this. And so there is a lot of issues involved in being able to make it work. But ultimately, we need to fix this because there's a lot of issues on why this is occurring. One is the main issue is there's a supply of items on a timer that has a limited amount. So all items in the market right now that are going up are probably always going to go up. Unless there's a way that the items are provided from inside the game. So for a good example is M61 ammo will always go up. APSX ammo will always go up. You can't find these items in a game. And the only way the prices are going to go down is if someone was to find the item in the game and put it up for sale for cheaper. There is an item in the game, there's 60 round mags and the hard drives. I can tell that that item is slowing down on it going up in value, but it might continue to go up purely because of the demand of the item. So this is going to mean that every single item in the game is eventually going to be so inflated that we won't be able to purchase it because no one's going to put money on the flea market to sell items at a loss just to put items down. So that is the first major issue with the flea market in itself. The next is people are going to take advantage of this system to make money and manipulate the market. I've already previously spoken about third-party websites making cash to sell to people, and there's also other issues involved in this where people are just going to break the game in ways that I've got a theory based on tanking the value of an item. I haven't tested it. I'm a little bit hesitant to test it because it would actually break the game. But effectively, if we would lower the price of an item enough, we could actually make unlimited money. And that's not cool because then we just have what happens at the end of a reset. And then we'd be either forced to have a wipe or forced to have a stash wipe of some sort of extent. And I know people will probably end up doing it anyway, even if, I advertise it or not. So the only solution that I can find, well, technically that I found, there's two solutions. One, you put a ceiling cap on how much you sell items for. The problem with that is you are no longer having a free market. So if someone wants to sell an item for higher than everyone else, they should be allowed to. You're effectively going to have issues with fees if you put caps on items, because if you sell an item for 10 rubles, there's bugger all fees. But if you put an item up for 100,000, the fees increase. And so if you put the cap on an item, it'll have to be based off percentage, and there's issues in that itself. So I don't like the idea of putting caps on how much you can sell stuff for. The other idea is you literally just deactivate the dynamic market until it's got a full rework. Honestly, as much as I love the dynamic market, the theory behind it, the only solution I see at this present time is to totally stop it. I know that's not going to be happy for a lot of people, but guys, it's seriously flawed in many ways. This is just one theory that I know that, I've got proof now that works. And I know there will be other ways to either make money from exploiting it and issues from in the game. Guys, I know there's going to be people out there that say, hey, Pestyly's abusing the game and that, but there's already people doing this. I'm literally just trying to make it so we can find the fix. I could just put this as a bug report to BSG, but it's not going to be something that can be fixed just via bug report. There's so many variables in this. So please understand that I'm not trying to ruin the game at all. I love this game to bits, and I am working tirelessly to find all these errors and bugs and issues in the game so we can have the perfect game that we all love and enjoy. So please, I hope you guys can accept that. Besides that, guys, that is all for this video. Before I finish it up, guys, I have been nominated for Breakout Creator of the Year. If you could please go down to a link below for the Australian Games Awards. I've been nominated for Breakout Creator of the Year. Go give me a vote down there. Also, Twitch Creator of the Year for the Australian Gaming Awards. Would mean a lot. It only takes a couple of seconds to do. Besides that, guys, if you like this video, give it a thumbs up. Subscribe for future content. I do stream on Twitch 6 days a week. Go down to the link below. Give me a follow over there. And lastly, I'll see you next time. Money, money, money. It's so funny in a rich man's world.